So I'm going to go over again how to do a commission in Command because there have been a lot of questions lately, or at least a lot of errors lately, which can greatly delay, to be frank with you guys, can delay you guys getting paid because there's a lot of fixing and revising and tweaking that I end up having to do because the commissions weren't turned in the right way. So as many of you know, green sheets are going away. That is the way that you used to turn in your commission requests. And while KW hasn't done away with them completely, they're still available. They're really only supposed to be used in very unique circumstances. And those unique circumstances are when you cannot do a commission request. The only times I'm seeing that happen right now is when you have a commission request already turned in your opportunity. You can't do a second one. You would have to create a whole new opportunity. So for many of you, you've been keeping the same opportunity going, and so that second commission request actually has to be done as a green sheet in order to get that information sent in. But those are things that will be, I'm sure, adjusted with Keller Williams at some time. At some point, they'll find a better way for us to handle those certain situations. But I'm going to cover today just how to turn in a commission. So you hopefully will already have your opportunity created, but just to recap, the first step in creating an opportunity is you have to make sure that the client assigned to your file is in your contacts. Excuse me. So if it's two people, you'll add a contact once, and then you'll add that second person a second time. You click add a contact, put their full name in, email, phone number. If you guys are utilizing the Command database or CRM at a high level, your contacts should already be in there. But if they're not, add them first. Then when you go into your contact, you can go into this opportunity section here and click create opportunity. If you don't want to do it that way, you click on this opportunities link here. It takes you to your main opportunities page or your sales pipeline, and you hit create opportunity here. There are a couple different opportunities you can create: listing, buyer, and leases. We've done several trainings on this already, and of course we can do more, but I'm gonna fly through this part because it's pretty we've done it several times. So when you create an opportunity, by default, the Market Center will display. If you're on a team, your team will display. You would label it a listing or a buyer. It's going to have your Rainmaker if you're on a team as the owner. If you're a solo agent, you will be the owner. Please talk with your team about how adding contacts and opportunities work. That is their call on who the owner is and how that works. So that is a question for them. Next, you add your client. This is why it's important you add your contact first, because it's going to search for your client. It won't let you add a new one straight from the opportunity page. Add your client. If there are two, add a second one. Give the opportunity a name. I see agents doing so many different things for this, and it's okay. I think previously we said to put in the property address if you have it already. I know if you're working with a buyer, you may not. I'm not too concerned about the address being here so long as you put in the address later on the next page, which I'll show you. So you can leave the opportunity name as is if you wish. You can give it an estimated close date if you have one in mind, a commission rate. Hopefully you're all getting as much of that as possible. And then there's just some phases. So cultivate is when you're nurturing the client. Appointment is when you are either actively meeting with them or showing them homes. Active is when they're on the market as a listing, so on and so forth. So I'm going to call this one active. This is a listing, so we're just going to call it an active listing. Notice I'm the assignee. Again, the owner, team owner, and for testing purposes, I have a team turned on for me. But the owner's the Rainmaker, and then it's assigned to me. This is your opportunity details page. This is where you're going to add your property address. This makes it very easy for me to search for the property. Otherwise, I have to guess. Did you use the client name? Did you use the client last name? Did you use the address, but you abbreviated? So it's imperative that you add in the address by clicking on these pencil icons. I'm going to click on this one in the property section, give it the country. You can search for the address. It'll do a Google search, so it should pre-fill. Click save, and now the address is saved. So that's pretty important. You can go in and add other details if you wish. Seller profile, this is linked to your KW app. Documents is where you would have already uploaded your signed paperwork for the listing, the accepted offer, and close. Our office preference is that once you have an accepted offer, You turn in the signed paperwork and you do your commission request then. I know many of you, and trust me, I've worked on teams, so I've seen it from all angles. I know that you like to wait until it gets past the inspection or the appraisal. And I'm okay with that so long as you remember to come in and do the commission request once you have those key steps finalized. Sometimes we're getting these commission requests done right when the file closes, and I'll explain why that can cause an issue here in just a minute. So we're going to assume that you have uploaded your signed paperwork already, you've submitted it for review, and now you're ready to do your commission request. You have to create the offer first. So notice we're kind of just going through each section one at a time. By creating the offer, you are adding in the details of what the figures are. So we could call it initial offer, accepted offer. You could put the last name of the buyer, name of the buyer's agent, whatever you want. Create offer. And now you're going to fill in the details. So offer details has the the name, the offer date, and close date. Now we can go on to the party section. It is going to require you to put the names of the buyer and the seller. You do not need the contact information for the other client, but you do need a name. And then down here, you're going to have to put in the associate's name, so the buyer's agent, and make sure your name is correct, of course. Now we're going to move on to terms. I have advised many of you, as you know from previous trainings, to put in the sales price and this finance amount. You cannot fill in the sales price. You can only enter data into the cash box and the finance amount. So easiest way, I think, is just to put in the finance amount, what the actual sales price is. You could put in the earnest money, you could put in option fees, terminate. Basically, this is what you would do if you were sending an offer to your client to review. So you've got the property listed, now you receive an offer. This is where you put in all the details of the offer and send an analysis to your client. Once you get to the agent analysis page, you can put in pros, cons, and a summary of the offer, save, and then there's a way that you could send it to it that we'll work on a little bit later. For many of you receiving multiple offers, this is a great way to input each offer, and like I said, put in the pros, cons, and a summary to really help your client choose the best offer for them. I'm going to hit save. And now I have the option to accept or reject. I'm going to accept this because, again, we're moving right into the commission request stage. So we're going to hit accept. If I didn't want to, I could do reject, add a negotiation, edit offer. Those are other options. But for this situation, we're just going to accept it. And you will notice the commissions tab now lights up. This is great. This is what we want. This is now going to allow you to send me the data I need to generate your DA. So it does have a red banner at the top that says unable to submit, and it tells you why. So the contract date is required. You're going to re-enter the contract date. This is the date that the offer was accepted. So I'm going to put in that. It pre-fills the close date. So many of you have put in a close date that's in the offer stage, and then it actually turns out to be later. Whatever close date you put in on the offer, this is what's going to import into my system. So please pay attention to this. Otherwise, it's going to give me false information, and I may think something's closing this month when in fact it's closing next month. You cannot edit it on this page. You have to go back to the offer, change response, go back in and edit it and change the close date. All right, so up here at the top, it's going to show the sales price commission that we put in on the offer. So we'd have to change it if it's wrong, what the check total would be, how many units, which if you represent one side, it is 1 unit, contract date, close date. Over here on the right, this is going to readily change as soon as we start entering data. You'll have the total commission that's received, how much in royalty is paid, which is 6% of the commission, so 6% of 6,000. The company currency, AKA company dollar, so depending on your split, typically that's 30%, 40% of company dollar staying with Keller Williams. And then it'll break down what each agent is paying and what goes to the office. Quick tip, ignore this. You don't need to add a co-broker payment. I've had several agents do this for referrals, and unfortunately that does not import into the Winmore system properly. Winmore is the Keller Williams calculator. This is how we calculate profit share. This is how we make sure that you're never paying too much in your commission. This is, if you're capped, Winmore tells us you're capped. You'll never pay over. So it's crucial that you submit these to coincide with the Winmore system. So do not use co-broker payment. Next, we have agent breakdown. If you are a solo agent, this is pretty simple. It's going to pre-fill as your name. It's going to have your single unit, your commission, and it's going to break down how much you pay in royalty, company dollar. It'll track what you have paid in already, any deductions, and then your check amount. So pretty easy for a solo agent. Mine, I am obviously not an agent, so mine has zeros here. These numbers here on the right that talk about your cap, the what you've actually paid in, your balance, this is for closed files. So if you have 5 outstanding commission requests that haven't closed, those figures don't pull into here. It's only calculating items that have closed. So keep that in mind. Down here in deductions, we don't take E&O from your closings. We do that on your monthly bill. If you want to donate to KW Cares, Kids Can, or Bold Scholarship, you enter that information here. Keep in mind, if you have if you've set it up in our Winmore system to auto deduct, even if you put zeros here, my Winmore system is going to actually pull in that $5 you said, when you joined that you were going to donate. If you ever want to turn that off, let me know. But just want to make sure you know that even if you leave zeros here, it will correct it in my system. Adding an item. These are there's a couple of different options, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is what you're going to use most of the time. Adding an item gives you the option to add a bonus, aka a transaction fee. Adding an item allows you to do a concession, which we don't normally do. Adding a deduction is if you were taking money out of your commission to pay someone else. Only times I really see this is if it's if you have a transaction coordinator. Inside referral, we do not use inside referrals. That goes against our referral program, so we do not use them. So you would ignore that completely, just as you ignore the co-broker. Outside referral. This is any referral you're paying to somebody who's not associated with Keller Williams Indy Metro West. This does not include Keller Williams Indy Metro West referral agents, and I'll go over that in just a second. But your outside referrals are going to be another KW office who referred you business that you now need to pay, or another real estate office. When you choose this, be prepared. You are going to have to enter the information off of their W-9 for their company. Now, I know many of you are going to look at this and think, well, geez, this is a lot more information than I normally would fill out. Well, that's because you were doing it wrong before, just being honest with you. When you were doing green sheets before and turning in referrals, each and every one of you were supposed to have the referral percentage, which would calculate the amount. You were supposed to have the tax ID number. You were supposed to have the company name, the agent name, all of this. But I mistakenly would often just do this for you, which in turn created a lot more work for me, which in turn delayed me getting, other things done that I need to do for you guys. So while you may think this is more work, this is the way it was supposed to be done all along, with you guys making sure you put in the outside referral details completely. I would strongly advise you, once you have an accepted referral agreement, talk to that agent and say, hey, do me a favor. Can you reach out to your market center administrator and have them send me a W-9? Get it done then, so we're not waiting right around closing time to have to get all this data in. I have seen files get delayed on me processing because we don't have this information. I cannot override this. Our system does not allow me to calculate your commission without putting in all of this information. So it is completely imperative that we have all of this data turned in. That is for a solo agent. Many of you are on teams, so you're going to have several agents who need to be added to this. So anytime you are adding a team member or a Keller Williams Indy Metro West referral agent, you're going to want to reduce your commission so that you can add another agent. I'll show you how that works. So right now it shows that me, Jessica Riddle, I'm getting 1 unit for $6,000. Let's say I'm on a team and I have a 50-50 split. I can lessen this unit, but it doesn't necessarily change the commission. I'm gonna actually override it. So if I'm splitting the deal 50-50, it would be $3,000 for me and $3,000 for my other agent. Some of you rainmakers like to keep the full unit. You want to keep the 1 unit and just break up the 3,000. You still have the ability to do that. Changing the unit does not change the commission field. So you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to do some math, people. You won't change this commission up here. It's only in the agent breakdown section. So you'll notice as soon as I made this 3,000, this doesn't match, so it's not going to let me submit. The total agent commissions do not equal the total commission for the opportunity. So now it forces me to add an agent. The add agent button only appears when the system recognizes your total commission doesn't match, okay? So if you're, again, on a team, you'd hit add agent, and this is awesome because this is going to search our database of agents. So again, if it is a referral being paid to a Keller Williams Indy Metro West referral agent, you're gonna do it this way. Outside referrals are for someone not with Indy Metro West. So whether I'm paying my team member or whether I'm paying an Indy Metro West referral agent, I can search their name and it'll add. If you try and do it this way, if you try and add a co-broker payment and think, oh, this is how I add my team agent, you don't want to do that. It's going to ask for way too much data and the math doesn't work. I have to fix it and it takes quite a bit of time. So you never want to use co-broker. You want to reduce the commission for the lead agent and then add in the difference for the second agent or third agent. You know, you may have more than two on a file. Notice as soon as I paid agent 2 the remaining $3,000, the submit button lights up again. That red banner goes away because all of the commission has been paid out. You can minimize these breakdowns if you don't want to see all of them. You just minimize them like that, makes it easier to see. Let's say I want to add a third agent and it's coming out of Pat's portion. I can make his $1,500. And now again, I have another agent I can add. And for this agent, I could go in and now I manually add whatever commission she's being owed. And again, I would do deductions if I needed to. So all of this equals the 6,000 I stated up here. I'm going to delete her, and I'm going to break this up into 2 people, and I'm going to do a referral. So I'm going to show you how referrals work when we have more than one agent on a green sheet, because it's different. Well, first, let me show you what it looks like with one agent, because there's been some questions on how to do them. All right, so $6,000, one agent being paid, but I do have a referral. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll down, payment breakdown, add item. I'm going to choose an outside referral. I owe 25% to the referral agent. I'm going to enter this info. Okay, I am going to Northeast, because again, this is not Indy Metro West data. Outside referrals are never our office. Right, perfect. So now it has taken my 6,000, deducted 1,500 for the outside referral, and then it would take out the royalty and company dollar if I had it, gives me my net check of 4,500. When this imports into my Winmore system, all of that data you just entered for the KW Northeast agent pre-fills into my system. Then I can just save it, generate the DA, and send it to you. But let's say I have 2 agents on my team, like I just showed you. Let's say Pat and I are on here, and we need to pay that referral. Let me make sure I'm going to delete the referral first. See if it'll even let me do it. There it is, outside referral. You just hit the trash can or edit if I wanted to. I'm going to delete it right now. So 3,000 to me, I'm on a 50-50 split. I'm going to add the other agent, Mr. Plew, add. He's going to get the remaining 3,000. Now, for those of you who have entered referrals before, you know that when you're on a team, it is taken off the top. The referral comes out of each person's portion. So if it's 25%, it's going to be 25% of my 3,000 and 25% of my 3,000, or it's well, it'll make sense here when I do it. It's no different than when we've done green sheets, but as soon as you enter co-broker payment, I can't stress enough, that is totally going to disrupt all of the calculations. So I need to add in the referral 2 times. I know it's going to seem like more work, but again, this would have been done on green sheets had we been doing it the right way the whole time. So add item, outside referral, 25%. It's not going to be 1,500 this time because it's only 25% of my portion, not 25% of the overall commission. EIN, Northeast, or whoever the brokerage is that we received the referral from. And then the address, This is important because this is where I'm sending the check. This is why we have to have all this information, because we 1099 this company and I have to mail them their check and I have to put it to the attention of the agent on the file. So there's a reason that we put all this in this way. And an email is great, but if you don't have it, no big deal, hit add. But I'm not done yet because I've not added the referral to come out of Pat's side. I'm going to minimize me. I'm going to go in and add it for Pat as well. Outside referral, again, 25%. EIN. Hit add. And now I've got the $1,500 I knew that I needed to pay out. So it's going to be important for you to kind of remember, okay, I have a $6,000 commission. I know I need to pay 25%. That's going to be $1,500. So you can kind of check your math throughout the process to make sure you've collected it all or paid out everything you need to. Don't be concerned if you see that there's a penny difference. Because of rounding, we find that from time to time. It should still let you submit. Every now and then I've seen it not let you submit because of a penny rounding difference. Let me know if that's the case. And we'll see what we can get done. But this is how you do commission requests. Once you send this to me, I do not get notified. My notifications, unfortunately, do not work very well at all. Even on my Kelly app, they are not in real time, unfortunately. So if you are in a hurry and really need something right away, email communication is always best, and I'll take care of it as soon as I can. Commission requests, it should never be in a hurry because we would be doing them shortly after it pins anyway. So having to be in a rush really shouldn't happen. Once I am done, or I'm sorry, once you are done and you have submitted to the Market Center, it comes to me and I can reject it and make you fix some things. Sometimes I can just change it back to open status, and which is where it's at now. And that way, essentially, you can edit it again. But once I import it into my system, you cannot make any changes. So if you have a change in sales price, a change in commission, a change in closing date, you have to tell me that. Send me an email, or when I see the amendment comes through, I try and do my best to make sure I update the DA and put a new one in. The DA, for those who don't know, is a disbursement authorization. It's almost your cover sheet, I feel like. It is a nice final breakdown of what this shows here on the right. We didn't have this with the green sheet, so this is kind of a new feature. Once I get the DA generated, I go into this opportunity in the under contract folder. I go to the placeholder for prelim DA. This is your chance. I can't stress this enough. This is your chance to review the numbers, okay? I do my best to alert you guys when I've added these. I add the file, I upload it, and then I send a comment so that it pushes a notification through to you to tell you prelim DA added for your review. 99% of the time, that is verbatim what I say. And the reason I say that is because I am urging you to review it. I am not perfect. Technology is not perfect. By getting the prelim DA done before closing, I'm giving you the opportunity to tell me if something's wrong. Tell me if the system is miscalculated. Tell me if you forgot a referral, because there's nothing worse than me going to process something and ready to submit your payment and finding out that we have forgotten, or I'm sorry, to be frank again, that you have forgotten something. So it's imperative that you take the time to review the prelim DA. I do 2 pages. First page is just the breakdown of whose check is what. The second page is the actual calculations. What was the royalty paid out? What was company dollar? What were my donations? Look those over. Then let me know if it's wrong. And then when you're ready for a signed DA, send me a request for that via email as well. 48 hours before closing is best to give me time to prep that and sign it. And then it's also, if you get that prelim closing statement, closing's pretty much set in stone. That's a good time to request it as well. The reason I don't sign them automatically is for 2 reasons. 1, I want your blessing that the prelim DA is correct. And 2, so many of you gratefully are closing files regularly. So the amount you owe in company dollar and royalty changes very quickly. And what I've seen happen is a title company will pay off of a DA that's inaccurate, and then I have to go back and clean up the work. I'm not trying to sound like a whiner, but I mean, there is a lot that goes into this MCA role, and the fewer things I have to go back and redo because of senseless error, the better for me. I have been reaching out to title companies, I'll be completely honest with you, and I've been telling them they are not authorized to process your payment and send you the check directly if the DA is not signed or the figures have changed. I know we're in a time when every penny matters, and I want you guys to get paid as quickly as possible, and I've always done my best to pay you within 24 hours. But what I can't have happen is title companies pay off a DA that's not signed, which clearly states they can only pay off of it if it is signed, and if the figures aren't, if they don't match, they aren't to pay you. At most, you would wait 24 24 business hours before I can pay you again. And it's in an effort to not cause more work or stress on getting these processed for you. So if you want to sign DA, you'll need to request that 48 hours in advance if possible. I will get that to you as quickly as I can, and those figures are going to be 99% more accurate than the prelim DA, especially if you're someone who is closing at a high level, or if unfortunately we've missed a referral or another agent that needs to be paid. Hate to say it, but earnest money is another one. If you're wanting to get paid off of the DA, we have to write the earnest money check to the title company, or the figures don't match, and technically they're not supposed to pay off the DA. With us going remote, that is a bit of a struggle right now. I'm not in the office like I normally am. So again, that's why 48 hours notice is best, because I can at least arrange a time to try and get out to the office to cut a check and to obtain a signature from one of our signers. Otherwise, we can't get paid off the DA. Really, this whole process just is in an effort to have the most accurate data at all times and to get you guys paid as quickly as possible. That's something that since day one has been really important to me. I do not want to pay you the wrong amount. I do not want to be late on paying you. I do not want there to be errors. And so if you do your part by turning in the commission request at a reasonable time and accurately, and review that prelim DA, it makes it a pretty smooth process for us all. I hope this was helpful. That's pretty much the gist of it. You create your contact, create your opportunity, get the accepted offer, and then go into the commissions tab. Once I import it, I'll generate the first or prelim DA, add it to your document section, send you a note, prelim DA added for your review. Let me know of any changes. If you want to sign DA, request it 48 hours ahead of time. I will send to you via email so you can send to the title company. The only thing I would add is that with payment from the title company, typically we have them send us checks, or you bring us a check. With everything going on right now, we have many title companies wiring us commission. That is okay as long as they confirm wiring instructions. I've had some that are wiring them to the wrong account, which is again another problem that I have to clean up. So just communicate with me if you need wiring instructions. I can get them to you to give to the title company, or they can call me and I can give it to them, or I can fax them. Every company seems to be doing something a little bit different. I in no way will assume that your upcoming closing needs me to call in wiring instructions. I'm never going to assume a certain way for your closing. So if you need something like that, you're going to have to communicate that with me, and I'm happy to get that for you. The only other thing I would say that I've run into a couple times is agents who do get paid off the DA. So you guys have your payment and then you kind of hold on to the closing documents. Please turn those in same day or next business day if at all possible, because especially as the end of the month comes and we transmit, which means closing out April's numbers, I need to close those files out, and I do not close out files without a closing statement or without the closing docs. So that's important as well. If you have any questions that I didn't cover as far as commissions, just send me an email with your questions. I will do some research and get back to you. That is the quickest and easiest way for me to get these new technology questions answered, is an email. So definitely do that. And then I will see you guys at our next training.